Well, good morning. Welcome to Friday, May the 28th, 2021. This is Peggy's Place. I'm Leanne Lindsay, your host today. We are live on YouTube as well as on air at 88.3 FM in Walla, California, and we are streaming around the world at kgua.org. I have a couple of guests on the Zoom right now as well. We'll be getting to them in just a moment. I've got a couple of announcements to make. First, I just want to say what a great way to start the day when we have somebody come to our door and make an anonymous $2,000 donation to the station. As our fundraiser is wrapping up this weekend, we so appreciate all the love and support that we have gotten from the community during the fundraiser day that we had last Friday, with a combination of all the walk-in, the website donations, and the Facebook donations. The total is somewhere around 23K. I don't have the current total now, but in addition, with a donation of a car that took about a few months to come in, but at least that cash can be applied toward operating capital to help us stay on air through the end of the year. We are looking at probably maybe 32, 33K. That's getting close to our 40K mark. And now with this other donation, that's 35K. So wow, we are getting there, folks. And we will keep that Facebook fundraiser open on our page through the weekend, the Memorial Day weekend. And we also have the website where you can click the donate tab. And also you can mail a check to P.O. Box 574, Gualala, California, 95445. We are a completely independent public media station. We do not get grants, and we depend on sponsors and donors to help support us, to keep us on the air. So especially during times of emergency, we are here as your lifeline, and we will help provide updates and information to you all along the way. Now, a couple more announcements to make. One is by the Coastal Seniors. They have the Point Arena Food Bank that's coming up on June 8th, and that will be at the Veterans Building in Point Arena from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. And they have a new time frame, also 3:30 to 4:30. And that's June 8th, Tuesday. So put that on your calendar. They're going to have pre-packed boxes, which include an assorted a box of grocery items, mixed produce, meat, eggs, milk, cheese, and bread. And then you can contact them at 882-2137. That's 882-2137, or go to coastalseniors.org for more information. And then in the Linden Design Gallery this weekend, they have a new hours for today. They're going to be open midday through, let's see, later in the afternoon. They don't say exactly when, but that's Linden Design Gallery in the Sea Ranch. And tomorrow they've got new hours for the summer. They're going to be open Saturday, 11 to 5 p.m. going forward. And they have, this is the last weekend to see Tina Beebe's 5 Poppies paintings, which they just introduced last Saturday. And they will also be showing a few of her smaller color poems paintings that they've got. And that's and then plus a few of her coastline seascapes that she has there at that gallery. And it is Memorial Day weekend. It's the first day of our farmers market at Walla Community Center. We are so looking forward to that. Finally getting back to our farmers market again. And Peggy was just asking on Messenger if we did get that 2K walk-in. Yes, we did. It is anonymous, Peggy. And so we are just thrilled with that. And it is about 61 degrees outside under mostly sunny skies. It's going to be windy today, up to maybe 10 to 20 miles per hour again. And then Saturday, it's supposed to be even windier. So, but you know what, this interview I had, or conversation I had with Billy Arana yesterday, who has a new business up in Point Arena, he said that's really good for the kelp. And I imagine that the people who are joining us today could even join in on that conversation. But it's great to have some of our kelp coming back that was getting decimated there along our coastline. But he said that the high winds help to invigorate the kelp, and that's really good to hear. So joining us today from just up the street at Sweet Life Bakery and Pacific Coast Ayurveda are Jennifer and Victor Briere. And welcome to the show. Good morning. Good to have you guys back on.
Thank you, Lan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, and I love to see all the lineup of the jars behind you. I'm sure that have different healing aspects, or is it part of the bakery? What is that behind you?
That's a number of Ayurvedic herbs.
Okay.
All different types.
Well, do you guys have any of the information about the kelp that's coming back along our coasts?
We don't know about the kelp in particular, but on the coast here, but most of the work, if not all the work we do, is directly related to the health of the environment and the way that we structure our lives, being very reflective of the way that the living planet needs as far as healthcare and environmental concerns as well.
Yes, and sustainability and environmentally conscious. You've got the solar panels that you guys have installed, so you're completely 100% energy independent. Is that correct?
It is, yes, and that's a new update. We just did that a couple months ago. Mike from MD Solar and Electric helped us put on the solar panels on top of our building on Sedalia at the cross street of Highway 1. And so now the bakery and the kitchen, as well as our health clinic here, are 100% run on solar energy. And before that, it was all, we were all 100% local and renewable through Sonoma Clean Power. And you see that Surf has all of their signs that they're run on local renewable energy as well. So I think a lot of businesses and residences in this area are deciding to move in that direction. They're seeing the benefit and the necessity.
I have to tell you why I'm so distracted here. We had another walk-in check just now.
Wow.
Oh, thank you so much, Thayer Walker and Claire McCarthy. We so appreciate your donation. And so it's wonderful to have all this great support for our station. And we do want to help support all of our community too. That's why we have on people like you to talk about the things that you're doing here in the community, which is so important. Why don't you explain a little bit more about what it is that you guys do in a very general and overview way, and then we can drill down over the next half hour on those different spots.
Yeah, sure. So I run the operations for the few of our businesses that we have here. We have an Ayurvedic school and clinic, which Victor takes the lead on. Locally, it's known as Pacific Coast Ayurveda, but on a wider scale, it's known as the International Institute of Ayurveda. So we now teach Ayurvedic health practitioners. We also have our kitchen here that a lot of locals love coming to. We have lunch service every day at 12 o'clock, and we have a bakery that's open 7 days a week. And it's all vegan, it's all inspired by Ayurveda, and it's absolutely, we get all of our food within 150 miles. We just do it all up.
Well, I like the way that you have it on this one website. That it's not the Pacific Coast website, it's the Applied Consciousness Initiative. Mm-hmm. And that's your 501c3 nonprofit. That's the umbrella over these entities. Okay. And you mentioned that you bring together international cuisine with vegan and Ayurvedic fusion. Yeah, I like that. And the flavors that you develop can completely enhance a different variety of offerings that you bring forward. And I was just looking at where did that go? Your menu for the week, starting out with an enchilada casserole on Monday, Alfredo pasta on Tuesday, coconut curry on Wednesday, the asparagus risotto, which I'm so looking forward to getting some of, you'd had yesterday. And then today it's the spinach and mixed greens with tofu with a side of dal. Is that sag? Do you pronounce that sag?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then a white bean soup with farinata, is it? Farinata. Tomorrow is Saturday, and then vegetarian burgers on Sunday. And the way that you do this to support the community too is because this is a nonprofit, you're able to say whatever people can afford or not. If they don't or can't afford, it's up to the individual to just give what they can. And then those who would like to make donations, you certainly accept donations too.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worthwhile to know. I know you know Joe Rich, who is the chef creating all the lunch cuisines, and he's traveled with international chefs and has been studying and teaching Ayurveda for about 16 years and is the original founder of the Ayurvedic clinic that we all have. And we also have a new head baker who arrived a couple months ago, and she's lived in Europe and the United States. And so I think what people find when they get here is, we're rooted in the community, but we've also traveled and we love being inspired by, when it comes to the food and the flavors, by different cultures and all the people that we've met from different parts of the world. And we really combine both the taste and the flavor with the very real environmental impacts of the way we eat. And we let all those things inspire and inform our choices. And we love it when people come from the community or tourists driving through and ask questions about these things. What is Ayurvedic inspired? Why do we do these things? And it's led to great conversation, just like we're having now.
Well, that's a good question right there. What is Ayurvedic inspired?
Yeah, so Ayurveda is a holistic science, for those who don't know what Ayurveda is, that is about 10,000 years old, probably older. And it's from what we now call India, but then it was not the same India that we know now. And it is the belief that, our bodies are purely nature made. We're not built in factories. We're not built in assembly lines. And so the way to maintain balance in our bodies is to live as naturally as possible, which a few hundred years ago was the only option. Now it's a little bit different. So when something's Ayurvedically inspired, it means that it's going to take into account the whole being, the body, the mind, and the soul.
I just stumbled across a new series on, I can't remember, I think it was Netflix, but it's Zac Efron as he travels around the world with another fellow whose name I can't remember, but they discover different healthy ways to eat around the planet. And also one was specifically focused on the water that we drink and how to keep the minerals in it that are healthy or good for our bodies. I don't know if you've ever heard of that series. I hadn't. It's a brand new one that I was shown. But let's talk about the other aspects that you guys do, the meditation and the yoga part of your facilities that during the past year you had to set aside or do them via Zoom. So what are you planning going forward?
The yoga and meditation is the sister science of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is the medical branch of yoga, basically. And they're meant to be practiced together for the most part. So the yoga meditation part is to get in touch with your spiritual self and your purpose in life, your soul's purpose in life. And then Ayurveda supports your body so that you can fulfill that purpose. So as we meditate, as we practice yoga, as we chant mantra, as we do pranayama, which is breathing exercises, we get in touch with that special something inside that can seem so elusive a lot of the time, or something that we sweep under the rug because either it's too scary or it's not convenient, or we have other obligations, so on and so forth. We all know our personal excuses for that. Yeah.
I'm good at excuses.
Yeah, there are plenty of them, right? If you want one, it's there for the taking. Yeah. So yoga is basically saying, hey, I'm going to not sweep this under the rug. I'm going to really get in touch with this part of me. And in order to, the vast majority of the time, in order to really carry that out, I'm going to need a really balanced and thriving body. And that's where Ayurveda steps in.
All right. And Jennifer, why don't you explain more about let's go back to the food aspect of it, and the preparation and the daily operations. Give us some insight into that.
Yeah. And one thing to tie that into what you asked Victor is the way we choose to eat impacts the functions of our body. And so that applies to our daily life, and it applies to our yoga practice as well, and our spiritual practices. We choose to have a completely vegan menu offering. So everything is 100% animal free. That's a little bit different than Ayurveda, which does use, for example, ghee, which is a clarified butter, as a carrier for herbs, but it's used very medicinally and in very specific circumstances, because that's not the case for most of us and what we all need. We just choose to leave it out. It's also easier to communicate with others and just say, it's vegan, it's animal free. That impacts digestion. You mentioned our water use throughout the world. All of these aspects, water, land use, the health of our biodiversity, all these things that are global crises right now are what we use to counteract that and say, we don't want to be a part of the crisis. We don't want to be a part of the reason that 73% of our diseases are coming from our unhealthy interactions with animal and land use. We don't want to be a part of that. What we want to be a part of is a thriving biodiversity, a thriving natural environment that we love so much in Wallala. So let's inform the food, how the ingredients are used, so that we are a part of that. Because we can't just point to McDonald's as a corporation and say, well, they should change. We actually do have the ability to change ourselves. And here at the kitchen, we take every opportunity to do that and take in new information on a consistent basis. And we also educate a lot.
Yeah, I think that Zac Efron too is vegan. And that's what he was talking about, the impact on the planet. And that was a part of the whole series. And that one about water was very interesting, because in Paris, what they are doing is making sure to provide very high quality water to everyone in Paris. It doesn't matter where you are, you can find something as you're going along the street. If you're homeless or whatever, you've got access to free, clean, pure water that has good minerals in there for your body. And so they're going against that whole marketing of water in plastic bottles for one thing. And they are giving access to their whole community and not letting others that are unable to have it go without. Now, between vegan and vegetarian, because I did put on the YouTube title today that it was vegetarian as well. So since it's not vegetarian too, what is this key difference between those two? I'm still a meat eater. But I love vegan and vegetarian food too. So tell the difference between the two.
Sure. So, and we actually now find ourselves using the phrase plant-based more, because it seems to be more accessible to people. Right. But really, to be frank, it is about veganism in the sense of just stop eating meat and start eating vegetables and grains and legumes. It's 100% possible. It's better for our bodies. It's better for our digestive systems, and it's better for our relationships, because the less acidic a diet we have, the less reactive we are in relationships with others. And you mentioned water. And, one of the things I would say is, if you care about quality water and water rights for people all over the planet, you need to eat vegan diet. It's 100% necessary. Animal agriculture uses 100 times more water than plant-based diet agriculture. And considering 2/3 of the fresh water on our planet is used for agriculture right now, it makes a huge difference to take meat out of your diet and replace it with whole grains and fresh vegetables and fruits. It's 100% necessary. Anybody that cares about equality on this planet and finds themselves eating meat, dairy, and eggs really needs to reevaluate that choice. We need to transition. It's an emergency and it needs to happen now. And
Well,
we are here to help because I've gone through that transition. So I teach private and group yoga classes. I educate here at the kitchen and try to provide the resources because we can't do it alone. And the social pressures when we turn to family and friends and say, hey, I like what's going on over at Sweet Life Bakery. And I hear what they're saying, and I think I'll start eating a plant-based vegan diet. You really need support and you need to ask for help because it's difficult in a family when you're the first person or a friend group, a peer group, colleagues.
that's a very good point. And you're very passionate about what you are doing and believe in there. And that's what it takes. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Jennifer and Victor Briere. I'm sorry, I slaughtered your last name, Briere. And they are with Sweet Life Bakery here in Gualala. It's also part of Pacific Coast Ayurveda. And the overall umbrella is the Applied Consciousness Initiative, 501c3 nonprofit. And the show that you're listening to right now is Peggy's Place. I'm your host, Leanne Lindsay. This is KGUA in Wallala, 88.3 FM. We are streaming around the globe at kgua.org. And we love to bring to our community and on the airwaves and on YouTube, which we are on today. If you want to check us out, just go to YouTube and put in KGUA. But we like to bring all the voices of the community together to talk about the things that they're passionate about. That's what we do here as a public media station. So let's keep on talking about what you guys do there at Pacific Coast Ayurveda and Sweet Life Bakery.
Yeah, so I'd like to address something that, because I've talked a lot about this over my career thus far, and we'll continue talking a lot about it. But something I noticed in the clinic is, a lot of times it would really, really benefit someone's health to become vegan or vegetarian, or at the very least, eat a lot less meat. And, we can go through the arguments and so on and so forth. And the statistics are there. We can go over there's amazing statistics out now about, Jen said 100-time water use for animal agriculture. It's like, there's some crazy one. What's your favorite one?
83% of the world's agricultural land is used to feed livestock, yet livestock only provides 18% of our calories.
Yeah. So
and we can get into the protein discussion and it'll blow you out of the water with any argument.
So there's all these stats.
That is a big argument right there that people do focus on, is the protein aspect.
Right. And so, I go over that. And so I'm sitting down in the clinic talking with someone and they say, what about protein? And so I say, well, actually people who eat a plant-based diet on the average get more protein daily than a person who eats a meat-based diet. And it's like, really? It's like, yeah. It's like, so you ready to give up meat? No, I don't want to. So, right. So we can list out these stats, but there are listeners here saying, well, I don't want to. And I get that. And so what I would say is I'd say, come on by, try out a vegan dish. We're not going to sit there and lambast you with stats about why, if you don't go vegan, you're a bad person or anything like that. That's not our intention at all. We're just trying to offer another way because it's necessary for the survival of our planet, and not just survival, so our planet can thrive again. Because if anyone hasn't noticed, it's going downhill really fast. I mean, here in Wallala, we lost our kelp. Like, that's pretty crazy. There are no more salmon. These things are like right in our face.
Oh, there's another great series on Netflix that's by Richard Attenborough.
Yeah, exactly.
Life on a Planet is called the latest documentary. But I studied his books back in college when in my early 20s, just the books that he wrote about everything that it's evolved on our planet, the status of our world, the organisms and the animals in it. I just loved all of his series. But that's a new documentary that came out just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so I get it, and because I've seen it a million times in the clinic, we have emotional attachments to our food. Everyone does. It's just, we know that, right? We don't need to argue about it. So we can all just raise our hands and say, I have a lot of emotional attachments to food. It's fine. This food's supposed to be emotionally vested in us, right? It's part of our survival. It's part of love. It's part of all our deepest emotions. What we can learn to do is eat in such a way that actually makes us happier and healthier and more loving and more compassionate, because our food's so connected with our emotions. And that's something that we have to learn. So if we can just listen to the stats, look at the world, say, okay, look, there's a reality to all this stuff. I'm not going to find the one statistic that says otherwise in an ocean of 10,000 statistics that says this is screwing up our world. Then just try to open up a little bit, come try some wonderful, beautiful vegan food, and you might find that actually it's completely satisfying and that you really don't need the thing you thought you needed before.
Well, I have to say that since I began eating more there and thinking more about it, when I cook at home, I cook more now with more vegetables and grains, and leave out any of the meat or even seafood. I focus on just my love of vegetables and how to make them taste really good. If it's going to be with ginger or garlic, or if it's going to be sesame oil, if it's going to be something completely different, or really spicy, tangy. Like last night, I was pickling some little, what are the little onions? I can't think of the name of them right now.
Pearl
Shallots.
onion? Oh,
Shallots.
Okay.
Just doing different techniques. And I find that it is satisfying. It is very satisfying.
I think the question along the lines with that is, I would ask everybody, what is stopping you from turning to a vegan diet? What is the hesitation? And I am welcoming any emails. My email is jlday360@gmail.com. And you could send me would love talking about it. What is your hesitation with turning to a fully vegan diet?
That's a good question. And where can they reach you again? What's the email, and can they find it on your website, or is there a telephone number that they can call to?
Sure. The phone number is easy. It's 707-225-8844. And we usually pick up. Otherwise, we get voicemails and call back pretty quickly.
And I believe on your website, the one that I'm looking at, the Pacific Coast Ayurveda.com, there's a way to contact you there. Yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And your hours are so that people can know when to reach you, or
yeah. It's 9 to 6 every day.
Daily.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a lot of work that you guys are doing.
Yeah. We're trying to make it really accessible, because how can someone really decide unless they've had an experience? So we're open. We're here. I mean, it's all by donation. You can come and do it for free if you want, but please, we need to make these changes, because if we don't, our planet's just going to get more and more threatened. And I mean, even more so than it already is. And just think of Wallala itself. I mean, the fires, the kelp, the salmon, the river, everything. It's all based on this giant cycle of animal agriculture. And so we just got to find a different way.
Yeah. And social equality is such a big social inequality, and hoping for social equality is such a big passion of people here on the coast. And a lot of work is done here on that. And animal agriculture is tied in. It's every facet of our social system. When animal agriculture is brought into that, it devastates those. So we need to transition, and we need to really support each other, because it's not easy and we can't leave each other behind.
And on that, I want to thank you both for joining us today here on Peggy's Place. That was Jennifer and Victor Briere, and that it is just up the street at Sweet Life Bakery, Pacific Coast Ayurveda. They are raising awareness about some very critical issues, and they are welcoming you to contact them for further dialogue and any questions you've got. And perhaps if you would like to consider transitioning to vegan, they can help you. And again, I just appreciate having you guys on to raise up some of these issues that we all need to think about.
Thank you,
Thank you
Leanne.
for
You're
hosting
welcome.
us.
All right. You guys take care, and I'll see you later for some of that asparagus
Take
risotto.
care. We'll see you for the risotto.
Okay. Bye-bye.